One moment, guys. We are still getting set up.
Thank you for joining us. Those of you who are already on, we're getting set up. Happy New Year to all of you. Welcome to our live. Just getting our cameras and everything set up here. Little slow start here today. But we are grateful you are here.
Just bear with us.
Thank you, Star. Always helping out with the set here and getting things set up. How are you, Star?
Doing well. How are you?
Yeah,
Me?
I'm good. I'm wonderful. Hey, everyone. We are live. Our first Ask the Talk Doctor live of 2022, this brand new year. Happy New Year, all of you.
2022.
We made it on the other side of 2021. I'm so excited. I hope you are too. You know, it is just so wonderful to have this privilege to be able to have this platform to be with you, to share, just our gifts and our thoughts, our ideas, our experiences. We view it as a privilege, and it's a privilege to come into your homes and come into your lives week after week. We hope you had a great holiday season. We took a little bit of a break, but we're back and ready for a brand new year, right?
We are.
Absolutely. So if you're joining us for the first time, East Coast, West Coast, all across the nation, all around the world, thank you for being here. We love you, and we're so grateful to you. So what exactly is Ask the Talk Doctor Live? Ask the Talk Doctor Live is a place where you can come and just be, and be able to ask questions that might be on your heart, or things that you're going through in your life, and you just want some expert advice, or you just want a place to hear from other people about, things that they might be going through that can resonate with you. And that's why this platform for us is so important, because we do know that so many people are going through so many different things at any given time, especially the current climate of our world today. And just to have a place for a few minutes where you can just be is sometimes just all you need to get you through that particular day. So we hope that you will join us week after week. We hope you'll bring a friend, tell a relative or a coworker that we're here live Eastern Standard Time at noon every Friday for Ask the Talk Doctor Live. Yes. So I'm a psychotherapist, speaker, consultant, and life coach, and my beautiful co-host, Star Brianna, she's an entrepreneur that uses creative marketing to make your business shine. Isn't that wonderful? And she does such an outstanding job at doing so. So, what's on your mind today, Star Brianna? Anything?
On my mind today. And as you mentioned, that this is a place that you can just come and be. So what does that mean? That means from us, we have a responsibility to always be truthful and, share what we're going through, how we're feeling, so that you feel, able to come on and do the same way.
Absolutely.
So right now I'm grateful to be here with you in this show again in a new year.
Yes. I'm grateful that you're here too, because, Star was supposed to be on assignment in New York. And, I was just thinking, man, I'm going to miss my co-host. And so, lucky for me, that got postponed. So she's here today, but, so happy for her that, she gets to help so many people with her creativity and her creative designs and ideas, and just help other people in terms of putting their best foot forward as it relates to their business.
Mm-hmm.
So I do want to share something with you guys, because in the light of being truthful, current climate, unfortunately, COVID and its cousin Omicron is on the rise. And if you've been under a rock, maybe you didn't know, but I think that that's a truth for everyone. Everybody is just well aware that that's the crisis that we're in today, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a crisis. I want to admit to you that my family was on lockdown during the holiday season. It started well before Christmas, when my children's school closed early because there was, an outbreak in the school, which many of you can relate to, because that's happening to all of us. Yeah. And so, unfortunately, a couple of days before Christmas, my daughter, 9 years old, sorry, Angel, 9 years old, and my son, 10 years old, they both showed symptoms. So naturally, took them to get tested. One child tested positive, one tested negative, I tested negative. And so it went from there. Nevertheless, symptoms were there, and you rush into doing what you need to do to take care of those symptoms, because that's all we can do right now. We can manage the symptoms. And so it didn't last that long, surprisingly. They were down for like a day and a half, 2. Kids are so resilient. But just watching them go through just feeling so sick. They kicked me out of my room. They moved into my room, was all in my bed. So I moved out. I moved into their room naturally and took care of them. And lo and behold, so as I said before, we were down for Christmas. And I want to tell you, though, that all of us, when we reflected on Christmas, even though it was just us, we all felt like that was the best Christmas that we had in a long time. Wouldn't you say that? Yeah. Like I said that, the kids said that, you said that, my husband said that. And it's just one of those things that you're grateful for, because we could look at it as saying, oh, we're not going to be able to have people over, or whatever the case may be. But sometimes simplicity is more than enough. And it was us. We had fun together. We opened presents. We watched movies. We just, cuddled together as a family, enjoyed each other despite what was going on in our household. And I have to tell you, this is going to be instituted, because I feel like from now on, maybe what we need to do is, maybe Thanksgiving is for family and other people, and Christmas is for us, because I still get warm, fuzzy feelings when I think about how nice it was that it was just us. What do you guys think? Talk to me if you think that that's something that helped your family, because maybe you were on lockdown too during this season. Yeah, what are your thoughts?
Sometimes those things just kind of have to happen to bring us closer.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I like that.
Yeah, things work in mysterious ways that way.
So well. So like I said, the kids, it took them like a day and a half or 2, to just bounce back and jump up again, because, we all rushed into action and helped out each other and, made them feel comfortable. And then lo and behold, who do you think got sick? Yours truly.
My goodness.
I started having symptoms a couple of days after Christmas, and I was just like, well, wouldn't you know it? And that is something that happens when you have kids and you have to take care of them, and they're all over you. They share the love, they spread the love, and that happened. And so, I started feeling symptoms, and, it kind of knocked me down for like a day or 2. And I just want to give a shout out to Starry, because Star Brianna, she rushed into action, and she was just being mom's nurse, and she was just bringing me whatever I needed. And I kind of looked at it as God's way of telling me, lady, rest. Yeah. You've been doing way too much. You need to rest. And I took the opportunity to do just that.
Yeah. Rest. And you yourself, you got back pretty quickly also.
But
you needed those few days.
I needed those few days. Yes. I was probably down for maybe a day and a half, 2 days.
Yeah.
It didn't really last that long.
Yeah.
So I
Which
had
is
a
great
few symptoms.
A blessing.
It certainly is. I had a few symptoms, the headache, the body ache, the sniffles. But the next day I kind of got up and Star was like, no, you need to take some more time. You're getting up way too quickly. But I started feeling better. And speaking of feeling better, you're probably wondering, if you're watching us, like, how do I take care of these symptoms? And there are a lot of people who are still very much afraid of getting COVID or Omicron or whatever the case may be, or any of its other variants. And I get that. It is a scary thing, particularly what has been happening over the last 2 years with the many deaths. And, thankfully, many people are not dying as much anymore, but we still have to be aware that we need to be safe and we need to protect ourselves and we need to do the things that are necessary. And I'd like to scale it back a little bit, because I think that this reminds us of how much we need to prioritize our health and wellness. This is not something you do when you get sick. This is something you do as a lifestyle. You need to really be thinking about the lifestyle changes that you need to make in order for you to be in your best health every single day. And even if you do get sick, because viruses, that's what they do, they spread, that you're not down for a long period of time, because your immune system can support you, can help you in terms of bouncing back, right?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that we have something to share.
Yeah. So what did we do exactly, to manage those symptoms? And that's what I'll call it. So this is my symptom soother remedy that I want to really give you. So if you have the cold, a flu, or even, COVID for that matter, there are some things that will help you to sort of support yourself while you're going through the symptoms, so that you can feel better faster. I'm not necessarily promoting this as a cure, so please don't, take that and run with it. I just want to give you a few pointers in terms of things that you can do to manage your symptoms and to help you to feel better. And these are things that, growing up, I've been using forever. Many of you know that, we're Caribbean, we're from the islands. And so a lot of our remedies are natural remedies. They're grown in the ground, in the backyard. You go out, you pick something, you stew it up, and you use it as your remedy. And that's what I'm used to. So that's how I, run my household, take care of my kids. And you remember this, a lot of things. So I'm going to show you a few things. So one thing you definitely want to have in your pantry is honey. Now, we're not promoting any brands or anything, but just make sure that the honey that you buy should always be raw and unfiltered. That's its purest form, because you want to get as much as you possibly can out of this honey. And remember, if you don't know already, honey is a natural antibiotic. You can have a wound and take some honey and put it on that open wound and watch what happens. Because of its properties and the things that's in it, it's a natural antibiotic. So just remember that. So you want to have some honey, and you don't necessarily have to use honey if you're not one that wants to use sweeteners. I would say a little bit is more than enough. Another thing you have to definitely have in your pantry or your refrigerator is ginger root. We can't live without ginger root in this household. We cook with it. We put it in our teas. We do all of those things. And so ginger root, again, is one of those natural things that really helps with inflammation. And so if you are somebody who has a lot of inflammation in your body or prone to inflammation, you really want to incorporate ginger into your diet. The other thing that I would recommend is lemon. Now, growing up, we didn't use a lot of lemon, but we used a lot of lime. My parents had lime trees in the backyard, and we would make lime juices, and we would squeeze lime in various different things in different dishes. And one of the things about lime and lemon, if you don't already know, is that they're really, really good in terms of immune support because they're citrus fruits. And so you want to make sure that, again, especially during these times, that you keep lime, lemon in your refrigerator, put it in your tea, squeeze it over if you like fish, squeeze it over your fish or various other things. You can make salad dressings with it that are just so healthy and natural. So lime or lemon is another one of those things that was a symptom soother for us. And last but not least, what went into my remedy is garlic. Yeah. Now, let me say a word about garlic, because some of you might be like, ew, I'm not having any garlic, because we know that, it can just kind of leave a lingering odor. But oh, the benefits of garlic. So I want you to understand that even though it might not smell that good, it's good for you. And it can be used in your foods, in your teas. Boiling some garlic and ginger together can make a powerful elixir that's going to help your body to bounce back even faster. And so we kind of brought, the finished product here. So this is a tea. All of these things together make this tea, and you boil it, of course, in filtered water. And then you get this here. I have one for you too, Star Brianna. Thank you. Yeah, of course. And so your liquid should look a little bit like, if you can see it, it's not that clear. It's a little brown in color, because the ginger is going to change the color of the water. And it changes even more if you add honey. Now, this one doesn't have any honey in it because I'm staying away from a lot of sugar. But I encourage you to use the honey because, again, it's a part of the mixture that we were just talking about, this solution. And this is a solution that I encourage you to use on a daily basis. And it's delicious. See? So good. We forgot one thing. What did we forget? Apple cider vinegar we're using in there. Yes, also. Indeed. Yes, thank you, Star. Yes. So pouring a little bit of apple cider vinegar in your tea solution is going to also be helpful. And again, this is something that you can drink every day. If you prefer cold drinks, you can make a batch of it, put it in your refrigerator, and drink it like you would your water. So many benefits. Again, it cleanses your system. It supports your immune system. All of these different things that are from the ground, organically so, is going to really support your immune system. And that's what we need during this time. We need healthy supports. We need to be able to be eating the right foods, drinking the right amount of liquids, again, to really help us bounce back faster. I think that when we think about what's going on today and the scare, instead of allowing yourself to live in fear, jump to action and ask yourself, what can I do to be my best self, mind, body, and spirit? Fear is going to suppress your immune system and lead to more stress, and stress is not what you need right now in terms of faster recovery, or even making sure that, you don't get sick, or if you do, you can bounce back much faster. Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. So I hope this was encouraging for you. I just thought it was necessary for us to be able to share this. Cheers to you. Go make a batch for yourself. It is so delicious. It really is. So that being said, we're talking a lot about self-care right now, if you didn't already kind of pick up on that. And, I just want to ask you, how do you self-care? How do I self-care? In many different ways, I think. Let's define self-care. So self-care to me would be just being honest with yourself. And why it's important to be honest with yourself is to know where exactly you need to target the most in your body, physically, mentally, whatever that may be. So that's just one thing, but I'll go off of honesty. What I'm loving right now is taking hot baths. It makes me feel good. Inside, it's like it is a meditation for me, and also it just
makes me feel beautiful. You know, when I get out of the shower, I usually I have a salt lamp, so I'll bring that in there. It'll be like I like to set the mood, have my salt lamp, have a candle, and the bubble bath that I choose. You know, I like it to smell really good, you know, and then I love putting on a face oil. So that right now is what I need for you know, whatever it is that I'm dealing with inside. So my bubble baths, and I like them to be so hot. Like I love I just love it to be steamy, and then I feel great in there, and like I get out, and then I look in the mirror, and it's like feel refreshed, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's a wonderful definition of self-care.
Yeah.
The practical example that she gave, and for you it might look different. You know, write to us, you know, if you're on Instagram, or write a comment on YouTube or Facebook and let us know how you've been self-caring or how you practice self-care. But it looks different for different people.
Right.
And I love how she highlighted that it makes you go internal and think about, you know, what it is that this moment in time is doing for me in terms of turning inward and allowing myself to say, I care for you.
Yeah.
I love you enough to gift you this time.
Exactly.
And I just want to let them know that you know, one of the things that was so wonderful, you know, during the holiday season is, you know, she did not just think about herself. She also extended what she does with regards to her bath to other people in the house. So she made baths for the kids. She made baths for me, my husband, and it smells so good. There's a lot of aromatherapy that goes along with it, that after a long day, you can just feel like you have just drained all the cares of the world in that bath.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that that was so beautiful. I just want to thank you for that, because I know that sometimes you're like, Mom, you have to stop and take some time to take a bath. And I do different things for self-care, but when I smell that aroma, you know, coming from your bath, it just reminds me that, yes, I can stop and take the time to do that as well.
You have to.
Yes,
you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
what about, okay, what's one thing that you do?
What's one thing I do for self-care? So for me, I have some daily things that are very important to me that I've been doing, you know, ever since I can remember, in terms of turning inwards and making sure that I am giving to myself and I'm taking care of myself. And what that looks like for me is waking up each morning and making sure that I have my daily devotional time.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be who I am without it. I have to invite the presence of God in my life, because, you know, to be honest with you, that's what truly helps me be who I am on a day-to-day basis and show up as my best self. So I need to commit to that time. And I've been doing so for a very, very long time. So it's my devotional, it's my prayer. At times when I have a lot of time to incorporate this in the morning, I do a meditation, a guided meditation. And actually there's, you know, an example on my website. If for those of you who want to really understand what a guided meditation looks like, go to www.TheTalkDr.com. But there are also many that you can utilize, and it just allows you to be in that space, in that moment, not allowing other things to entangle with your thoughts, not interacting with the, you know, racing thoughts that might come, but just allowing yourself to be in that space, in that moment. Hear actually hear yourself and hear the positive thoughts that you need to have to resonate with you, to take you throughout the day. And that's literally how I start my day every day. And of course, my prayer before, you know, I get started, because I can't show up for you to be who I am for you if I don't first give to myself. Yeah. And I think that that's really important to me. Yes. And
I love that.
Yeah. And that's like my number one self-care. And then I also do other things, my exercise, my walks, you know, just reading things that will inspire me are also ways to self-care. So you see, it doesn't necessarily have to be bubble baths or, you know, cost a whole lot of money that you have to go out and join a gym or whatever. Self-care with what you have, yes, and what you specifically need. Yes.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you asked. And online you can find a lot of tips. There's 101 ways to self-care. And you can also write to me if you want me to send you my little tip sheet that I have. Also, when I give talks on self-care, I offer that to my participants to remind you, that you have to do something on a day-to-day basis. And here's a trick for you guys. One of the things that I talk to my patients about, as well as the people who, I see when I give speaking engagements, is I also talk about a way to actually force yourself to do self-care on a day-to-day basis is to get yourself a little jar. And in that jar, you write down maybe 20, 30, 40 different things that you can do for self-care, simple things. And you fold them up, each one on a piece of paper, and you put it in a jar, and maybe put it on your desk or wherever you work or play. So to remind you, this is my self-care jar.
Yeah.
And each and every day or week for that matter, because maybe you only want to give that time once a week. I think we should do it daily, but for you, it might be once a week. When you reach into that jar, whatever you pull out, that's what you're going to be doing for self-care.
I want to take that a step further. And so you have your 30, 40 pieces, maybe like level them, easy, medium, hard, or difficult, based on like, one day you just might not feel like it, but you have to. It's been a long day and you have to do something. So you pull out your easy jar, or you have a little bit more time.
Yeah.
You get your difficult jar.
I really like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna offer that. Good thinking, Star Brianna.
Yeah.
I love that. Yes,
I like what you
indeed.
said, about the jar. So that's great.
Yes,
Yeah.
and she's absolutely right. Sometimes we can talk ourselves out of the things we know we should be doing for ourselves. Don't talk yourself out of self-care. Find ways to talk yourself into it.
Yeah.
Because it is very, very vital and necessary for you to be your best self. There's a saying that goes, self-care is not selfishness. It's actually self-preservation. So in order for you to preserve who you are, to show up for the people in your life, to show up for the things you have to do, you have definitely better be pouring into yourself and giving to yourself so you can be the best that you possibly can be.
And if anyone, makes it so that, or to say that you are being selfish, like reframe the word in your head. Sometimes you need the reminder to be selfish, especially if you're like a giver and you do this and you do that for everybody and you're constantly toiling in your mind. Like sometimes it's okay to like say, okay, I need this time. It's okay to, be selfish and care for myself so that I can care for you. It's just a different perspective.
I agree. By giving to myself, I can show up better in the next hour, so you look at it from that perspective. By doing this, I can then do that.
Yeah.
And so then in that regard, it's not selfish. It's about, being able to give the best of you and not the rest of you, like the small bits and pieces that's left, because like I have nothing.
Yeah.
I've got nothing to give, Anyway, so, why are we here? To answer your questions. So if you have them, go ahead and write them in the comments so we can answer them for you. We had a couple of pre-questions that came in, so we're going to start with those. But those of you who are on Facebook, those of you who are on Instagram, hey, Instagram, thanks for joining. Hey, YouTube. Also, just go ahead and post your questions because we want to be able to be helpful and answer them.
Yeah.
So one of the first questions that we're going to take is one that came in. I'll have Brianna to read it for me, and then we'll each give you our take on what that looks like.
So first question.
Yes.
Thank you for sending this in. My boyfriend lied to me and deceived me about who he was. He made me think we were exclusive, but I learned after doing some investigation that he was still seeing his ex. He's been contacting me like nothing happened, but I've ignored him. Should I walk away without confronting him?
Yeah, that's a loaded one. Yeah.
It's got multiple things in it.
It's got multiple layers going on here. So you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I think let's like banter.
Let's break it down. Yeah. So we'll break it down. So what I'm hearing from this person is that they're in a relationship with someone, or
and
so they thought.
So this is their boyfriend, or so I thought.
This is a relationship.
Yeah.
So they're in a relationship with someone, and then what happens is they find out that, you know, the boyfriend has been lying. He's not necessarily being truthful in this relationship. What they found out is that the boyfriend is still seeing his ex. So this person now, you know, retreats. Like, you know, I'm not going to answer you. What do I do? I'm not going to answer your text. I'm not going to, because what do you think? I don't know. And so she wants to just walk away from the relationship without, you know, even having a conversation, and wants to know if that's the right path to take.
I think that, I feel like it depends. If it's hurting her, if it's genuinely hurting her, you know, say something and then leave. But if you feel like you're going to say something and then stay and you don't want to stay, maybe if it's working for you to just go away, then do that and keep moving forward with your life. You're like, I don't want to put up with this. But maybe if you know, want to find out some more information for whatever reason, you feel like it'll, you know, help you, then say something. But just say that one thing, you know, depending on what their response is, whatever it is, you already found out that they are cheating on you. So you know the truth. They, you know, even if they lie, you know the truth. I don't know. It depends. Like whatever it,
I like your response. I think I have a different spin on this. And here's the thing, generally speaking, you know, not just for this situation, but I'm going to bring it from a general perspective. I think that confrontation is hard for a lot of people. But here's what happens when we don't confront situations. You get left holding a bag.
Right.
You get left holding a bag of stuff that's not even yours. Here's this person. She was showing up honestly in this relationship. She was doing what she was supposed to do, being truthful and honest in this relationship. But somehow, somewhere, she found out that, you know, her significant other was creeping, crawling, doing different things, and with the ex, no less. And then not even having the decency to say, hey, this isn't working. I decided to go a different way. Maybe we should stop seeing each other, whatever the case may be. And here's what I have a hard time with. When you walk away and don't confront situations, guess what you're going to do the next time? You're carrying that bag from that previous relationship into another relationship. And now you've got a mixed bag of stuff, and you are doing things in this relationship because you're still trying to work out the things from the previous relationship because it's in your bag.
Right. But you can confront what happened without saying this to the person. That's why I'm like, if it's working for her to just completely, I don't want to deal with this, you make sure you confront it, because you will bring it into the next relationship. But if you know that your feelings are so, this one's difficult, because maybe one day you might be like, what I should have went back and said something, you know.
Let me put another thing into this. What if you run into him? You walked away, you shut it down, you ignored him, and you know, we live in a society where we, you know, sometimes we run into people. And so what's going to happen is there's going to always be triggers because you didn't close the door, and you didn't close the door properly. I think that you've got to put things into the sunshine sometimes.
What if this person is very manipulative and is like, it's just making it worse, you know?
All of those things can happen. But I think that the best course of action here is for you to use your intuition that you have and recognize, because where there's smoke, there's always fire. And you possibly have already seen some other red flags in this relationship that you might have ignored. And this one was the big kahuna, finding out that he's seeing his ex. And, you know, at this writing, this person probably have enough evidence that she's not just speculating. This is really happening. This is happening. So now you got to ask yourself, again, going back to self-care, do I care enough about myself to say, I'm going to confront you because I know this is happening, and then I'm going to make a decision for myself in terms of what's the best course of action going forward, whether we leave this relationship alone because it's not working, because I didn't sign up for infidelity or for lying or things like that, or if she decides to carry on, what are my expectations in this relationship moving forward if I decide to continue? Hopefully you don't, because like I said, where there's smoke, there's fire, but it's your prerogative. I just think that you should not hold that bag. You've got to find a way to confront this situation, if at all possible, and just know. See, ahead of time, sometimes we have to prepare. When we have information, you can't go into a situation blindly, because that person is going to try to convince you that it's not happening. It's not so. You're making this up. So you have to have enough strength of mind to say, I'm going to confront this. I'm going to tell you how your actions made me feel and the impact it had on me. And this is my decision.
Yeah. And then you have to stand in that and actually move in whichever direction you choose to move into.
You got to love yourself enough to say, whether I'm going to walk away or I'm going to put in safeguards to make sure that this is not going to happen again. Because if it does, that's it for me. Yeah. So this was a good one. Thanks for sending it. Do we have anything yet? And anybody post anything yet? Remember to post your questions. We want to be helpful. We want to be able to answer them. We know that we have really amassed the time here that we said we had for Ask the Talk Doctor Live, but we're going to take one more before we let you go. The time goes by so fast. That's why we either ask you to send your questions in ahead of time. And by the way, we have a dedicated place for you to send your question. it's askthetalkdrlive@gmail.com. That's ASKTHETALKDRLIVE@gmail.com. So you can always send your questions confidentially, and maybe you'll hear them on air, or you can just come live and ask your questions. We would really love to be able to answer them. So we have one more that we're gonna take before we let you go.
So this question reads, what is the difference between an introvert and an extrovert? How can each be used to serve others?
I like that question. Yeah. So you want me to start, or you want to start?
I just thought of something, so I'll share this.
Yeah.
So introvert, this is not, Webster's definition, but what I'm thinking, intro, so in. So like you're a person that's more just like,
to yourself.
Extrovert, I thought of the word exit, like you're extra. Out, you're extra, so you're might be more willing to go to this party or and socialize and do a bunch of things. So both are needed. And that's what makes us all unique.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Do you regard yourself as an introvert or extrovert?
I really want to say both. More so introvert, for sure. More so introvert, but I want to say both.
Yeah.
And it depends on the crowd, so maybe that still makes me an introvert, because it just depends on how comfortable I am. But I'm really wanting to break out that, but by nature I'm an introvert.
Yeah. It's probably hard for you guys to tell, but by nature I'm an introvert as well. It's one of those things that you have a default personality. And so these are actually personality types is what they are. And some people tend to thrive alone, i.e. the introvert, and some people thrive in social settings, i.e. the extrovert. And we all develop our personalities somewhere between age 7 and 9, and so we're stuck with it. So our personalities don't change, but our behaviors can, which is why I feel like my default is an introvert, but I can show up as an extrovert because I do certain things, i.e., my profession and me loving to, learn and be curious about people and things of that nature. So I have to essentially force myself to be more extroverted. And it took me a lot of years to develop this. But to the person's question, how can they each be helpful? I think Star Brianna is right that we were all created with our own gifts, our unique in terms of who we are, our talents, because we were needed in that regard. So the way you are is the way you were made, because you have a special purpose in this life to show up in that way. And yes, both introverts and extroverts can be used.
Exactly. Like think of like the bully at your school or something. Maybe you're the introvert getting bullied, and we know where bullies come from, but just maybe you're the introvert getting bullied and your classmate's an extrovert. She's fine with, speaking up. She can be the one to be like, hey, stop, and you're too quiet to say anything. That's how you can help the person.
So the extrovert can be a supportive person. They're often there to protect, they're often there to be the life of the party. When the extroverts arrive, it's like a beautiful butterfly just flickering around in the room. It's everywhere, and it lets you know that its presence is known. But the introverts, they're so creative. They're really creative people, and we need creative people in this world. They are of so much value. They help us to see the beauty of the world. They show us the beauty of the world through their arts, through their talents, through their gifts. They may be the ones sitting at their computer creating a bestseller novel, because that's where they thrive. And, you will never see them on the outside promoting it, but they're the ones who did all the work. So there's so much to say about different personality types and how they can be useful. And whether you're an introvert by, default, or your natural self, or you're an extrovert, find your gifts, find your niche, and don't keep it to yourself. Share it with the world. There are different ways to share who you are. Nevertheless, you can be used, by far. I love those questions. Thank you for sharing them. Looks like we don't have any questions on live today, but that's okay. For those of you who stayed on, we love you. We thank you for being here, joining us in 2022. We hope that you will continue to support this platform. Be here, bring a friend. You can find all of our previous 5 episodes from last year on YouTube. So check them out, share them with your friends. We've been hearing a lot of wonderful things about how powerful people think that our messages are, and we thank you so much for sharing those feedback. In closing, do you have anything you want to add before we let the people go, before I give the closing summary?
Not add. Once again, I'm grateful that we made it here to 2022, and our first episode was so special about self-care. And I really hope that everybody just incorporates just 5 minutes in your day for self-care, whatever that may be for you.
Whatever that might look like for you. Thank you, Star Brianna. So for me, going into this new year, I sat and I thought about resolutions. And you hear so many people doing resolutions at the beginning of the year. And if that's your thing, that's fine. But here's what I would say about resolutions. One of the things that I find with most people is that they get really excited about a new year, and they start rattling off all the things that they're going to do in this new year. And 3 weeks in, you find that a lot of it filters off. It falls off. And so for me, this year I decided, maybe not a resolution, but a pledge to myself in terms of how I want to show up on a day-to-day basis. And I realized that this is more profound, because if every day I give myself grace for the mistakes that I've made, and to think tomorrow is another day for me to get it right, that every day that I walk on the face of this earth, I want to show up better than I did the day before. And that's what's important to me, because I get an opportunity to every single day that I have, and that I have breath in my body, to get it right, to show up more kind, more compassionate, more peaceful, more giving. All of these things are important qualities to me. And sometimes I just don't get it right. But I can say to myself, tomorrow is another day. And what I didn't get right today, I can get right tomorrow.
And that's why it's so important to journal. Or if you don't want to journal, we have phones now that can record. Just record, journal, document, what every single step that you're taking, so you have something to look back on when, you're better,
When
you
you're
know.
better, yeah.
Yeah.
And every day pledge to be better.
Yeah.
So in doing so, I read a thought today, in my devotional that I do want to share with you.
Mm-hmm.
It says a grandfather once told his grandson a tale about life.
Mm-hmm.
The grandfather said, "A fight is going on inside me. It's a fight between two wolves. One is evil. He's angry, he's jealous, he's greedy, and he's full of pride. The other is good. He is joyful, he's humble, he's patient, he's kind, and he's full of compassion. The same fight goes on inside of you and inside of every person, too," said the grandfather to his son. So the grandson pondered of what he had just heard. And then he comes back and he asked the grandfather, he said, "Well, which wolf will win?"
Mm-hmm.
And the grandfather replies, "The one you feed."
Mm-hmm.
Which wolf are you feeding in your life today?
Mm-hmm.
I hope that today's session
Mm-hmm.
was good for you, resonated with you, gave you something as of value to take with you into the next week. And we hope that you're going to show up week after week with us. We hope that you will tell a friend. We hope that you will send in your questions. We want to be supportive to you. And we thank you so much for being here on Ask the Talk Doctor Live. Bye now.
Bye,
See you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.